Okay, welcome back to factoring. This is P3, and we are going to work on factoring trinomials using the guess and check method. I personally like this method because, especially going into higher level math, you won't have time to do the longer diamond method. So I strongly recommend doing the guess and check, but if you need a support, you're more than welcome to do the diamond method. Okay, so this is the guess and check method. What you have to understand is you are going to start off by pretty much guessing and checking. The first number, the ax squared part of the trinomial that we talked about, the factors of 2x squared will go into these two places right here. Then you're going to look at the factors of 24, and they're going to go into these two places right here. Okay, and I purposely picked a tough problem, so let's get started. Well, first I should have looked for a common factor. So if I look at these, well, there isn't a common factor. They all don't have x's, so I can't factor out an x, and they all don't have a number that, you know, this one's odd and these two are even, so it doesn't look like I can factor out a 2, and I know I can't factor out a 3, so they don't have any common factors. Alright, so if I look at this, I know that the factors of 2x squared have to be either 2x and x. And it doesn't matter which spot you put, but once you put in the other numbers, it will matter. Okay, so now I'm going to look here, and there's a million factors for 24. There's 2 and 12, there's 8 and 3, there's 6 and 4, there's 1 and 24. And looking at it, well, if I look at the middle term, that's negative. So I know I can't pick two positive numbers. If I pick something like 2 and 12, well, if it's positive, then when I multiply it out, I know that everything's going to be positive. So that can't happen. So I'm going to guess that this is probably negative 2 and negative 12. Because I know if I multiply negative 2 times negative 12, I will get positive 24. And when I add up stuff, I will get a negative middle term somehow. Okay, so I know these probably have to be negative, or it could be negative 4 and negative 6. So what are other factors of 24? It could also be negative 3 and negative 8. It could also be negative 1 and negative 24. And obviously it could flip-flop the other way around too. So it can be negative 12 here and negative 2. It could be, well, let me just write it out. It could be negative 12 and negative 2 that way, negative 6 and negative 4, negative 8, negative 3, negative 24, and negative 1. So I don't know what goes in there. You're pretty much going to guess and check. So, for example, if I put in negative 2 and negative 12, okay, I know ax squared is good because 2x times x is 2x squared, and I know 24 is good. Negative 2 and negative 12 is 24. What I have to check is the middle term. So how I'm going to check the middle term is from what you learned before. I'm going to get the middle term by multiplying the outside. So 2 times negative 12 is negative 24, and negative 2 times x is negative 2x. So negative 2x and negative 24x will give me negative 26x. So that's not going to work. So I know this is not going to work. And pretty much you're going to just keep guessing and checking. So when I look at it, I know that 2 and negative 12 is negative 24. That's already way bigger than negative 19. So it's probably something other than that. So I know it's probably going to be negative 24 and negative 1. Probably not going to be this one just by looking. Probably not this one. So let's check the others. Okay, so let's try 2x minus 3 and x minus 8. Okay, so if I look, I know that two outside terms are good. So let's just check the inside terms. So this negative 2x and negative 8, if I multiply these, will give me negative 16x. If I multiply the inside, negative 3 and x, that'll give me negative 3x. I already know the outsides are 24 and 2x squared. So if this makes negative 19, then we're good, and it does. So I know my final answer is 2x minus 3 and x minus 8. And sometimes you'll have to check back and forth. Okay, let's move on to special cases. So example 3, we are going to factor 4x squared minus 81. Okay, if you look at this, I'm going to give you some notes. It will be on page 25. So let me show you on this. You can go ahead and pause it and take the notes here if you want. Okay, so go ahead and pause it and take notes. All right. So this is called a special case for a reason, because it's special. And for most special cases, at the end are perfect squares. So right here is a perfect square, and right here are perfect squares. So a perfect square is a number multiplied by itself. Will get me the same result. So for example, I know this is a perfect square because 2x times 2x is 4x squared. And I know this is a perfect square because 9 times 9 is 81. Okay, so if I look at my list, I know it is I know there's no middle term, and if I look at the list, the only one without a middle term is the sum and difference of a perfect square. So the sum and difference means I know there's a plus and a minus, and I know they are perfect squares, so it's going to be 2x and 2x, and I know the perfect square of 81 is 9 and 9, and that is factoring using perfect squares. So you can use this way if you can recognize patterns quickly, and if you don't recognize patterns, then use one of the first two ways that we taught you in examples 1 and 2. Good luck.